Recently, a restaurant opened up near me, and everybody who went to it had the same thing to say when I asked what they thought. It was fine, but they don't really do anything well. When you have a restaurant that has a big menu with lots of different types of food, it's really hard to specialize in a particular dish or type of dish. I've seen this happen time and time again with restaurants, stores, small business owners, and online services. And we might be seeing it happen again. Hey, everybody, my name's Joe Casabona. I'm the evangelist and video creator here at RSS.com. And today we are going to take a look at Riverside's new podcast hosting, who it's for, who it's not for, and how you should decide if it's for you. As a longtime podcaster with a ton of experience using lots of different podcast hosts, I feel like I bring a unique view to what podcasters are looking for and what podcast hosting should have. So let's dive into it. Okay, so over on Riverside.com, you can see their podcast hosting feature, create and publish your podcast all in one place. This is their promise, right? If you have a paid Riverside account, they will give you free hosting for you to distribute your podcast. Now, a couple things to note is they do offer the easy submission to Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, something that we also offer at rss.com. And they offer some analytics. They want to make it as easy as possible for you to go from editing your podcast or recording and editing your podcast to distributing it. Now, if we look at the dashboard, I've set up a sample show here. I've used it with my clients' podcasts, but I'm not using it for any of my own right now. But I do know that you can add an episode title and you can upload a new file, or you can choose a Riverside file. The really important thing to remember here is that you can only upload exported files. So if you are using Riverside, make sure to export before you come over here, because you're going to be doing a lot of back and forth. Now, in my experience using this, one thing that did bother me was I couldn't replace the audio or the video after it was scheduled. So I scheduled an episode for a client. We had a change to make, and I couldn't just re-upload the media. I had to delete the episode and then completely re-add it. Now, I reached out to support about this, thinking surely I missed something, but that is the case. You cannot replace media once it's uploaded, which gives me pause. I'm not really sure why you can't do that. That kind of seems like a weird oversight, but it is something nonetheless. So just something to consider that I thought was very strange, and we'll get into why in a second. Now, they also tout detailed analytics, but again, their biggest value proposition here is that with Riverside, you can record, you can edit, and you can publish all in one place. I do want to highlight something when we scroll down to the FAQs. They talk about a few things, but they mention what comes with the analytics. They'll tell you total streams in the past 24 hours and 7 days, top countries, top episodes, streams of each of your last 5 episodes, and top listening apps. Now, if you are considering launching a podcast, or if you have launched a podcast, the data that you get for your podcast is really important. And the data you get from your podcast host is going to paint the best picture of the overall health and growth of your show. So you want as robust analytics as possible for your podcast. Based on what it says on the Riverside site here, I don't think you're getting that. Streams in the past 24 hours and 7 days makes me think that you're not getting anything after that, which I think is a little strange. Again, I have not used the Riverside hosting long enough to really confirm that, but you would think that they would give you more than that. And if they did, they wouldn't necessarily time limit it to this. So I think that is a little bit strange. Now, I'm not going to do a shot by shot comparison of Riverside and RSS.com. We have fully focused on podcast hosting. It is our main and only product, and we offer a free version up to a network plan, which I don't think, as far as I can tell, you can't host multiple podcasts on Riverside's plans. You mean that you might be able to on the business side, but we have a ton of features that are all fully focused on creating a good hosting experience for the podcaster, for you. We want to make managing your show as easy as possible, which means that we have a ton of features that make it easy to publish your show. We automatically include transcripts. We can send a video version of your audio podcast over to YouTube. We have deep analytics that go beyond 7 days and that have super granular city and location data. We have a heat map so you can see how popular your podcast is at certain times of the day. We give you guided submission to more than just the top 3, and you get a website for your podcast. We allow you to embed your podcast on other websites. So if you have a website with a platform like WordPress, for example, you can embed the audio player directly into your WordPress website. And we have monetization features like paid or programmatic ads inserted dynamically. We have a partnership with Code ADX. You can have Apple Podcast subscriptions, donations, and funding, and value for value. The point is that we are fully focused on solving this one problem really well. And this is exactly why I brought up the analogy I did earlier. Riverside undoubtedly is a great platform for recording your podcast, especially if you want to do a video podcast, especially if you have guests. Riverside is a great platform for that. It also does a really good job at the editing side of things. I admit that sometimes I will record a solo video episode and upload it to Riverside just to do the editing or to get some of the magic clips. But when you start to focus in too many areas, the overall quality of the product goes down. That is fact. And as a Riverside user myself, I am worried that they start to focus more on the podcast hosting and their core product gets worse. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I have seen it many times in my career where a company loses focus, they take their eye off the ball, and then they miss. Now, one more thing to consider here is if hosting only comes with the paid accounts, what happens if you downgrade your account from paid to free on Riverside? According to the AI-based chatbot for Riverside support, your podcast will still be available, and they have added in settings a way to redirect your podcast away from Riverside. However, they do say that if your account becomes inactive after 120 days, your account and all of its content, including the podcast, will be deleted. So those are a couple of things to think about if you're going to use Riverside for hosting. Now, who is Riverside's hosting for? It looked like on the page they had a lot of business accounts, right? They had like Marvel and some other really big shows. And there's no pricing for the business plan. They offer content scaling, podcast hosting for unlimited shows here. So maybe you get a few extra things on the business plan that you wouldn't get on any of the other plans. But if you are a pro or live or webinar, like if you are on one of these other plans, then I would say If you really only care about having a one-stop shop where you can record, edit, and publish all from one place, Riverside is for you. If you want the basic elements of most podcast hosts, I do not think you are getting that from Riverside. The analytics are very thin. The uploading an episode, they don't support a lot of features that you want to see. You can't even replace the audio or video once you've scheduled it. So maybe it's because this hosting is in its infancy, but it's missing a lot of things that you would get almost anywhere else. And if cost is a factor for you, RSS.com offers a completely free account where you get all of our major features: unlimited episodes, unlimited audio, the embeddable podcast player, a website, you can add transcripts, you get basic analytics, and so much more, all from our free account. So I would say, yeah, if you're just looking for the very basics and you're not sure if your podcast is going to work out and you're just trying things, Riverside hosting is probably okay for you. But if you are serious about launching a podcast, but cost is still a factor, check out RSS.com's free local and niche podcast. You can find it over at RSS.com. I think it's really the best of both worlds here. And if you're not using Riverside to record and edit your podcast, it doesn't make sense to pay for it just for the hosting. I would say that there are other tools like Squadcast/Descript or a few other tools where you can record and get high quality audio for your podcast, and then you could upload it using RSS.com. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions about RSS.com's free plan, let me know. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you out there.